In 1913, you could buy a dozen eggs for 22 cents. Today, that same dozen costs you $4. Same eggs, same chickens, same breakfast. But something happened to your money while you weren't looking. The dollar in your pocket right now is worth about 3 cents compared to what your great-grandparents held. And the wildest part? This isn't a bug in the system. It's the entire point. Let me show you how money actually loses value, who benefits when it does, and why the same people who print it keep telling you everything's fine. When we say the dollar is falling, we're not talking about some abstract market force or currency exchange drama. We're talking about something much simpler and much weirder. Your money is designed to be worth less tomorrow than it is today on purpose. Imagine you're 5 years old and you have 10 candies. You're rich in candy terms. Then overnight, someone fills your classroom with 1,000 more candies and gives them to everyone. You still have your 10 candies. They're still in your hand. But suddenly, 10 candies means nothing. The value didn't disappear, it got diluted. That's inflation, and your dollar is the candy. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people think inflation just happens, like weather. It doesn't. Inflation is a policy decision carried out by a small group of people in a building in Washington, D.C. They're called the Federal Reserve. And every time they create new money, your existing money becomes worth slightly less. Let's go back to 1913. That's the year the Federal Reserve was created. Before that, the dollar was tied to gold. If you had a dollar bill, you could theoretically walk into a bank and exchange it for actual gold. The paper was just a receipt. This limited how much money could exist. You couldn't print more dollars than you had gold to back them. It was a hard cap. Then came wars, depressions, governments that needed to spend more than they had, and in 1971, President Nixon did something that almost no one remembers, but everyone still feels. He ended the gold standard completely. From that moment on, the dollar wasn't backed by gold or silver or anything physical. It was backed by trust, by the promise that the U.S. government would honor it, and more importantly, by the fact that oil, the most important commodity on the planet, could only be bought with dollars. This was the deal. You want oil? You need dollars. And if you need dollars, we can print as many as we want. For a while, it worked beautifully. But here's the problem with printing money. It's really, really tempting. When the government needs to pay for something, war, stimulus checks, infrastructure, bailouts, it has 3 options: raise taxes, borrow money, or print money. Raising taxes makes people angry. Borrowing has limits, but printing? Printing feels free. Except it's not. Every new dollar created dilutes every existing dollar. It's a hidden tax, one that doesn't require a vote or a press conference. It just quietly eats away at your savings, your paycheck, your buying power. Since 2000, the U.S. money supply has increased by over 400%. That's not a typo, 400%. In 2008, during the financial crisis, the Fed created $3.7 trillion out of thin air to bail out banks. In 2020, during COVID, they created another $4 trillion in a single year. And that's just federal spending. The money supply keeps expanding, and your slice of the pie keeps shrinking. Remember those eggs? In 2000, a dozen eggs cost about 90 cents. In 2020, about $1.50. By 2023, nearly $4 in some places. Same eggs, same farms, same chickens. Different money. Now here's where people get confused. They hear money printing and imagine literal printing presses running overtime. But most new money isn't physical, it's digital. The Fed doesn't need paper or ink, they just update a number in a computer. They call it quantitative easing, which sounds technical and safe, but it just means create money, buy assets, repeat. When they do this, it floods the system. Banks get more money, stocks go up, real estate goes up. Wealthy people who own assets get wealthier because asset prices inflate along with everything else. But wages, those move slower, much slower. So if you don't own stocks or property, you're just watching prices rise while your paycheck stays flat. You're getting poorer in real terms, even if your salary technically increases. This is the quiet transfer. Wealth moves from people who hold cash to people who hold assets, and most people don't even realize it's happening. There's a reason every country in the world watches the dollar. It's the global reserve currency. When countries trade with each other, they use dollars. When they save money, they hold dollars. Oil, gold, commodities, all priced in dollars. This gives the US an extraordinary advantage. We can print money to pay our debts, and the rest of the world absorbs the inflation. They have to, because they need dollars to function.